Good morning. It's Lincoln from Lincoln Knows Adventures, and today we're going to be learning the basics of trad climbing, placements, and finger cracks. Trad climbing is different than sport climbing because you use cams and nuts in order to protect yourself as you climb. This is a cam. This cam has a trigger, and when you pull down the trigger, it activates the cam into an overcammed state. This is when the cam is thinnest and can be placed inside the crack. Let me demonstrate. Pull the trigger, the cam activates, I push it into the crack, and then I release. You want the cam's head to be shaped like an arrow, not overcammed, shaped like a square, or another cam, half moon. And you may be wondering, Lincoln, is this safe? Well, here's the test. Seems pretty safe to me. So we just learned how to place cam, but how do you use your fingers in the cracks where you put the cam? Cracks have different sizes. Depending on the size, you either put your whole hand, half of your hand, just your finger, your fist, or your entire body. This crack is the size of a thin hand. I can fit my hand in, but I can't fit enough of my hand to get my thumb inside. I really have to dig it as deep as possible. I pull like this with my fingers while inside the crack in order to engage the muscles in my palm. This is more of a finger-sized crack, which means you can't put your entire hand in it at all. You can only put 1 or 2 fingers. This is a good example of a finger crack. All 4 fingers in, and I twist in order to create torque and tension on these fingers. They're getting stacked and jammed into the crack. An essential part of trad climbing is the nut. These nuts are also called stoppers, and they're placed in constrictions in the crack, where there's a wider opening on top and a smaller one below. This is a Wild Country #1 nut. It can hold 7 kilonewtons or 1,500 force pounds. In order to place this nut, we need to find a larger opening with a smaller constriction below. We place the nut into the larger constriction and pull it down to make sure it fits correctly. This is pretty good, however, it could slip a little further. Usually better to use a larger nut than one that perfectly fits the constriction. So this is considered much more secure. Now that we placed the nut, let's test it. So this nut actually was placed very well. You can see that there's surface area on both sides. Good to me. So even though I tested this nut, and even though you now see that it can hold my weight, it still can be hard to trust. This takes time and lots of practice. Stay safe.